It was titled Day Crescendo.
Yep.
K Crescendo.
Last session should have been called a bunch of BS.
Yeah,
I really
It's all Wander's fault, is what the last session
Pure
is called.
genius. Pure genius.
that is the
The
day
ti-
crescendo is
Title of tonight's
the
session
step.
is the title of tonight's session is Squeak Squeak.
I was gonna say Kindle. Today's session is called Firewood.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah, welcome to D&D. We're starting now.
Okay.
And if
What
you're ever
happened
feeling
last time?
unprepared, I'm happy to just read the journal until I fail a save. And we can just have combat the whole session.
Ooh.
That's going to get
Actually-
real messy when you're out at sea.
Oh my gosh.
Throw him overboard.
It's true. Oh no, I
If
got
that's an option.
I'll just tip the ship
Anyway,
over.
we'll get to that in a bit. What happened last time?
All right. We're on the ship. Is it all right if I take a stab at it and you can
Yeah, go
swoop
ahead.
in?
Yeah.
Yeah, the criminal
Um,
may be the one to give the narration.
Right. So we're in the ship, traveling back north to Orin. So the folks who do watch overnight actually notice that the other sentient seems to be pretty functional at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Felix does an inspection, and everything seems very similar to Sledge. This one doesn't have a voice box and no mouth hole to go with that. There's also no alchemite in it, and the power appears to be coming from the ship itself. And this one also has the Dwarn D that we've come to associate with Dalen. And then Ishmael notices a behemoth heading south to hunt in the morning. The party investigates the squeaky step. Council, I don't know how in depth we want to get into this. Council suggests it's metaphysical. I have in my notes.
We spend a solid 15 minutes as a group role playing around this damn step.
At a time. And you did it at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Magical.
I told
Council,
this story to my kids, and they were just like, "What? Why would Barnabas do that?" They just didn't understand.
I told it to Carrie, and she was just hosing herself. It's so good.
Do you understand senility, children?
They're probably confused that we're all old. Why are we wasting precious moments of our life on this?
right?
I have 12 lines. Like, Council wakes up and gets Ishmael. Ishmael talks about the stab. Council gets to Felix so he can invest the stab. Felix thinks it might be because Ishmael is heavier. Felix tries it with no sound. Council gets very close and tries it here direction. We roll a 22, a 13, a 6. But yeah, it just.
So good. So good.
The spoilers. If anyone's watching and didn't finish that last stream. Spoilers. Go ahead, Barnabas. Continue.
That's all right. Council reads another word. Everything seems to go well. We'll be in Orin soon. And we recall it was 3 days ago that the Breakers came to visit Felix. We're deciding that we do want to, after some discussion, we decide to let Orin know what is possibly coming for them from the Breakers. We head to the city. I don't. Aethelwolf? I don't know if I have the spelling of this correct.
Aethelwolf.
Yeah.
Aethelwolf.
Aetherwolf. Is it Aether?
Man, I don't know.
Or
Hold on.
Ether?
I gotta look it up.
Because this
A-
ether.
I think it's AE, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's AETHELWULF.
Oh, not Aether.
Aethel.
It's
Aethel.
Aethelwolf.
Oh. Today I learned.
You all take 48 psychic damage for not knowing that. Ugh.
Well, I'm glad I asked. So Aethelwolf, the new Dorn leader, we let them know. We leave directions for Sledge to keep the ship moving while we're in the city. So Sledge is just gonna do whip donuts in the sand so that he's not as approachable.
So he's not as approachable, like he's some kind of hoodlum.
He's got like a
Doing
sideways
donuts in the
hat.
parking lot. Oh my goodness.
As we approach Orin, we actually notice that there's roads forming of people leaving Orin, some to the west towards the mountain and some to the north towards New Orin. So Tizal and Wander go to fly over the city. There doesn't appear to be much hurry in the city at this point. There's people leaving, but not in a super rush. There's still a crowd by the temple, of course. Tizal shows Wander around Orin. Wander gets to see a tentacle flex, and it's kind of squeezing on the building, making sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right? There's something going on there. Yeah, and Council, when he's going over to the Magister's Tower, does notice that the rest of the city, not the majority of folks are leaving. Things do seem to have settled down. The Magister is really worked up. He runs down to see them when they're coming because he's so excited, and then he realizes he has sensitive stuff to tell him, so he brings them back up to his study to actually have a conversation with them. He's been researching and found something about the heart of the city. There are tablets he has unearthed with writings about Dalen and the law, and then we get to see another version of the law. The Magister doesn't know where they're from. And then we get into some dates. So I'll need someone to confirm this for me. So the journal is 11/3/2467. That's one of the journal dates, correct? And then no,
That's
the
what I heard.
journal,
Tablet?
the tablet.
It was a tablet entry.
Yeah, sorry. That is correct.
Oh,
11,
yes.
The account of Dalen leaving.
Yes.
Okay. And then I pasted this in. So to sit at the feet of our God and protector Dalen, then nothing short of life changing. Wisdom alone is a blessing to each of us as mortal children. I shall surely remember this feeling for the rest of my life. He says he is leaving tomorrow and may not return in our lifetime, but he will hear and answer the prayers of his devoted. I shall devote the remainder of my days to him and pray for his return, that I may partake of the sweet nectar of his wisdom again. So we have this tablet. It appears to be 1,200 years old.
Yes. Based on the number of kings that have come and gone since then.
And that king's rule, like at most, it's like 100 years or something.
Yeah. We also found out that there were some laws that were not covered up, as in with the newest ones, because when a new law comes in, if it overwrites a previous one, the previous one is covered up.
Mhm.
As children of the earth and all of its resources belong to the Dawn. But they changed that, which is nice. All Dawn that disobey the law shall be exiled according to the judgment of the king, which is one of the other ones, and all future editions of the law shall be etched in stone, which is now in metal. Did you want to continue part of this? Sorry.
Yeah, and then that one got changed to all future editions of the law to be kept in metal.
Mm.
Then the Magister confirms to them that the Dwarns started following the law instead of Dalen, and recalling that the statues of him have been defaced. So Dalen is not super popular by the looks of things. Felix starts telling the Magister that the Breakers are about 150 Dwarn several years ago. They're at least double that now, so there could be quite a force on the way. So after they finish up with the Magister, we converge back on the ship, except for Felix, who's going to visit Kaz. So when Felix goes to the temple, it's still busy. Things are a little bit more orderly. Kaz has been able to keep Jurgen alive. 2 thumbs up there. Felix warns Kaz about the possible impending Breaker invasion. Kaz is clearly concerned about this. they've taken over Touchstone, and we reiterated that there's all that knowledge there. So Felix recommends to Kaz to start building an arsenal of guns to pierce their power suits and protect the city. And he lets him know we are piecing out and not helping at all. So
One interesting thing that Kaz points out is that they've probably only been in control of Touchstone for a couple of weeks, maybe that like less. And that isn't enough time for them to sift through the archives to find anything particularly interesting because, as Spencer mentioned, they document everything, and finding information on a specific topic is ridiculously hard. So that's a good point. The Breakers may not know anything about the city, or maybe they do. I don't know. Something to think about.
yeah, that was very interesting. It also just because it would be true. Like when
Oh yeah,
information kept like that, it would just be a nightmare to get anything done.
it'd be like a single space in Confluence with millions of pages and no Control F functionality.
All right. Parse through the entirety of history.
Right.
No.
Go.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Felix notices the city. Oh yeah, the building further in are structurally intact, but there's still a mess inside from the flooding. Felix goes to check out Joanne's forge. There isn't anyone there when he first gets there. So Felix leaves Kaz with instructions on how to build the guns. I also talk about the invisibility ability. Kaz already has that under control. Kaz gives Felix a pair of Dwarn walkie-talkies.
Accurate.
That's what we call them.
So we get back to the ship. It stops. We start unloading the wood right where the Magister requested. Not as elegantly as possibly could have been done, but functionally.
Just like
Plus or minus a few feet. Yeah, it's fine.
So we see the other sentient fall off the ship and instantly stop working and then get back on the ship and start working again. So to kind of verify that claim. Ishmael, and Ishmael talks to Sledge about that and discovers that Sledge has his own green alchemite. We head north first to avoid the Kraken. We start approaching New Orin. We have a discussion about decide not to go in. Decide to put our feet in the ocean to see if we can get the same vision. No dice. But we all try anyways.
Small addition. Council proposes killing James on the way out to the sea.
That's right.
We decided it isn't worth the time and continue. It's like, hey guys, do you want to kill James? No, okay, never mind.
We're here.
That was his thinking. It's like, we're on the way. We could just go in and
We're at Target. Like, we can just pick it up.
The dude needs killing. You know?
just go get his head. I mean,
Yeah. So no visions. Investigate the squeaky stair. We
sure
find
do.
that. Then we pause and find out that the ship can go underwater, and then go back and do more investigation about the squeaky stair.
Tizzle flies up and it squeaks anyway, so it's not Tizzle. So like, then we have Wander's gonna fly up by himself.
Yep, and then Wander falls apart, and now we get to see if Wander lives or not. So
I've never written butthead in my notes before, but here we are.
I just have effing Wander at the end of it. So I, for better or worse, I selectively take notes. I try to more engross myself into the moment and write down the important things. Almost all of my notes are about the damn step from the last session. And there's a lot of them. I was certain this was going to be something big and important. So I'm like documenting everything that's going on. And like, okay, we need to know this. And now this happened. All right. And then we get to hear you laughing. And I was just like, no. No. Like in my head, I was like, this is not a joke. It was well executed. You guys did a good job.
It was all Barnabas.
It made a very memorable moment. I will give you that. That is a story I've already told to a few different people.
We're going to be in future campaigns. I'm like, yeah, you guys go down the steps. I'm like, does one of them creak?
No
You hear
reason.
a
No,
step creak. I run. I'm gone.
Set the building.
I attack the step.
I set the building. Attack the step. Cast fireball.
I burn down the building and salt the earth where it was.
And this will be the excuse forever. What? You didn't take notes on that? Well, I just figured it was another thing like the stairs, and it was all going to fall through. So.
I thought Barnabas was just playing a joke on us. Like, I don't know. Okay, are you guys ready?
What's the title for session 40?
Title of session 40 is Unrepentant Hymn.
Unrepentant hymn.
And that's HYMN.
I assumed so. Well, that would be an interesting play if it was HIM.
I have had several play on words.
Who's unrepentant? Him!
Hymn.
All right, let me enter scribe mode here.
All right. You find yourselves on the shore, having just discovered that Wander's full of crap. What would you like to do?
Continue.
Were we all there?
Wonder.
Were we
You
all?
are, you are all there on the deck of the ship at this
We
point.
were all there at that point.
The
Mhm.
last thing council did was look at the step, looked at Wander, and then went outside to stand at the front of the ship.
Tizal's dying. It's the funniest thing he's ever been a part.
Wander goes over and puts his hand on Tizal's shoulder and just cackles with him. Just absolutely cackles.
Doubled over.
Ishmael just walks away.
That makes Tizal
Visibly
laugh even.
disgusted.
We
Tizal laughs
recently
even harder.
stopped at the shore. Is that right?
Yeah.
And had Ishmael take a step in the water to see if anything would happen. Or all of us did.
Yeah, you all
Yeah,
did
everybody
in
did.
turn to see if there were any visions. And
I
no,
believe the plan was to just go out to sea, and then when we needed to dive, we would. We don't need to be able to spend the whole time underwater. I guess, unless someone else really wants to be under the sea.
yeah, up entirely up
If
to you
so,
guys.
it's better. Down where it's wetter.
It's probably smoother waters if we travel underwater.
Okay.
Unless it's slower to go underneath. And I mean just underneath the waves.
Yeah, up to you guys, really. However
Sledge.
you want to.
I have a question for you. Do you know what speed we can achieve under the water?
I do not.
That may be good to know in case we encounter anything hostile.
Just takes note of that mentally.
We could certainly make an effort to find out before we get into a troublesome situation.
I believe we should do so now. We're going to be traveling anyway.
Yeah, it'd be good to be aware of what may befall us. If we'll be faster or slower. If we'll remain dry. If the lot of you will be able to breathe.
Sledge
So find out.
turns to council, says, "Do we know our speed above water?"
Relatively. Judging by passing scenery. Not an actual number.
Scenery?
We shall judge the underwater scenery.
Snide robot.
He
Should be
returns
able
to
to-
his spot up at the helm.
We should be able to tell if we're moving faster or slower or beneath the surface or above.
We will find out. Sledge, please take us under and head in the direction of wherever Felix's compass points us.
You're pulling out your compass, I'm assuming, Felix, then?
Yep. It's
All right.
probably already out.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys you're just north of Touchstone. Or no, you didn't go all the way up to Touchstone. You said you just wanted to get far enough out of the reach of the Kraken's tentacles, right?
New Orin.
New Orange?
Sorry, what did I say?
Touchstone.
Stone. I knew what you meant.
That one. New Orin.
We went under the mountains.
The
Yeah.
Breakers took over New Orin, and they've now made it Touchstone.
Touchstone 2.
Now
We're leaving this a better place.
Touchstone.
Breaker Boogaloo.
Yeah, so you went just barely
watch.
north out of reach of the Kraken's tentacles. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, the compass hasn't changed too much in pointing northeast-ish.
Okay.
You all board the ship, Sledge, and the other sentient work kind of in tandem to get the sails back into proper position and to get the ship moving again. And he takes it out into the waters. When you are, I don't know, probably 20 feet or so from shore, you notice that the sails, again, similar to the last time that you had gone into the ocean, begin to like lay down and slowly envelop the ship. Anyone who is on the front of the ship is forced to the back.
Oh, okay.
Or is forced downstairs, wherever you would like to go. The sails of the ship, the front sail basically lays perfectly flat over the front of the ship. And you see as the lining of the sail reaches to the edges of the ship and not much more. It like overlaps just a little bit, like enough to like almost hold on.
Mm.
And then, I just hit my microphone. It forms an airtight seal on the edges of the ship, whereas the larger sail in the back is so large that where it lays down, the tops of it reach the back of the ship, and then there is a bubble, essentially, where reaches then the sail in the front and access to the stairs. So the only places to really be are on the deck next to the wheel, like at the helm, or underneath. And as it does this ship itself begins to dive into the ocean. And you watch as you are following the natural decline of the sand out into the ocean as the waves get higher and higher and higher. And eventually they're washing over the front of the ship, and then they start going over the top of the bubble. And you're noticing, as anyone who's on the deck of the ship, that this material has become somewhat translucent so that you can see out of it.
Oh, cool.
And so even though you are now descending into the ocean, you can still see forward.
That's wicked.
And within, it doesn't take long, 30 seconds, the entire ship is under the water. And you are in this airproof or airtight bubble in the back of the ship, or you are down underneath.
Is there any...
Go ahead.
If I'm picturing this correctly, there's no way to see down at all. There's no way to look over the edge to see beneath us.
You could look like down at an angle.
Okay.
It's like if you went up to the very edge of the where the skin attaches to the ship, you could like look like down at an angle, but no, you could not look directly underneath you.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Council just stands and takes in the sight.
Okay.
Tizal hates it.
When
He's below deck for sure.
when the ship
Go ahead.
Oh, I was to say when anyone who is on deck, when the ship is fully submerged, you notice at that point that Sledge at the helm of the ship is able to move it back and forth.
Oh, cool.
There's some kind of like mechanism has unlocked to allow him to pilot it up or down. Whereas previously it was just left or right. Now he can also go up or down, essentially.
That's wicked. Does Council have any concept of oxygen? Would we know that an enclosed space has a finite amount of breathable air as fantasy people?
Yeah, I imagine that, yes, you probably have some idea of, I can't, like, if I cut off my oxygen supply or cut off my ability to breathe, if I go, like, put my head underneath water, I can't breathe.
Okay.
If I hold my breath, obviously I can't breathe. There is some finite amount of my ability to breathe.
Okay. Council's going to take a mental note of the exact moment that we were submerged.
Okay.
And then just kind of wait to see what happens. If he starts to feel lightheaded or dizzy, it's like, oh, we're out of oxygen. We need to go up. And I kind of get a time frame for that.
Sure.
But we'll find out.
Yeah. You head underneath the waves relatively late in the day, so maybe 5 or 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely heading into the nighttime hours. So also, basically, the moment that you are beneath the waves, it immediately starts to lose light. The only light that you can see is actually the cabling that runs the length of the sails that is normally kind of lit and like golden in the daylight, still maintains some of that golden light. So there is a bit of light on the ship itself and directly around the ship, but not much further. Basically, beyond 30 feet, you are looking into pitch black.
Okay.
If that much light.
Is Felix on the deck, or are you down below?
Felix would be down below, probably inspecting everything to make sure he's paranoid there's a leak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tizal would be helping.
Also, we have okay, so the question is about oxygen. Does Wander take in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen? Are we good? We got a plant with us, so we can cycle that in.
Sustainable ecosystem under the water.
I don't know if Wander knows
Do you
what he breathes in.
photosynthesize?
Have we accidentally turned this into the hit 90s movie Biodome?
With Pauly Shore?
Tizal's in the corner wheezing the juice.
It's Encino Man.
That's clearly Encino Man.
He plays
And
the
it's-
same character and everything.
Juice is also 3 syllables. It's wheezing the juice.
That's true.
Is Wander considered a large tree?
He is considered a medium-sized tree.
Medium tree, okay. So enough oxygen for like 2 people.
Just breathe really quickly.
Ishmael's just taking huge
Hyperventilate.
deep breaths. You can visibly see the oxygen dissipate.
No, Felix and Tizal being downstairs, not on the deck of the ship. Please make me a either perception or investigation check for your checking over to see if there's any leaks or if there's anything wrong.
Ooh, natural 20. 20.
Nice.
25.
11.
11. Felix, we'll say that you were most concerned about the front of the ship, where the cannons are. Where you notice, because that's the kind of Dwarn you are, you like guns, big boomy things. You notice that the cannon holes in the ship are sealed with a like rubber gasket of a sort, so that there is no water coming in here. There's no water coming in through any of the wiring associated with that. And the gear that is in the front of the ship that is covered up by the front sail currently is also completely watertight. You find nothing to be alarmed of. Tizal, in the back of the ship, you are searching around. There's no holes in the floor where was previously punctured by the worm, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
That has been repaired at some point by Sledge or the Sentient. You're not sure. You don't see any other holes in the hull of the ship. But you do hear when you are back there the what was almost imperceptible humming before, coming from the large alchemite stone in the cabinet underneath the stairs. The humming is louder. It's not entirely clear why, at least without further investigation.
If this is Barnabas humming, or Wander humming, then
The pranks are just going to continue for the rest of the campaign.
Felix, this box is making a noise.
Where the alchemite is stored? Is that right?
Yes.
Felix is gonna have a look at it, and his first suspicion is that it is expelling more energy or spending more energy, and that's why it's making more noise.
Okay.
If he's gonna try to like suss out what it's doing.
Okay. Make me an investigation check. I'll even give you advantage, I guess, because you already have your hypothesis.
Can I make? I was gonna help him, but can I make a separate investigation check myself?
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
Why not?
Since he's already got advantage on it, and you want to metagame min-max, you're possible. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
Let's see. 21.
21?
12.
12.
12.
Tizal, you're not exactly sure why the stone is humming louder. But Felix, through a series of tests of some kind, you are able to find that your hypothesis is correct. The stone is having more energy drawn from it for whatever configuration the ship is in now.
Okay. He's gonna go up to the deck,
Okay.
seeing that there's no other issue, and mention that.
Okay.
If our energy is finite, and we do not have immediate replacements for this alchemite, then I believe we should save our underwater journeying for when it's necessary. We do not know how far down we have to go and how long it may take.
That seems
all-
prudent.
Tizal yells from below deck. Yes, I agree.
Sledge, if you wouldn't mind taking us back up.
Sledge pulls back lightly on the helm, and you see, or you feel more than anything else as you are kind of pushed into the deck as the ship begins to rise to the surface. You have been traveling for probably better part of an hour, so it takes you a while to get back to the surface.
Okay.
And in that time, Sledge mentions and says, "The draw is minimal. It appears to be." He kind of... You haven't seen Sledge like have to like think about something or like look like he's like recollecting anything, but he definitely like he gets that, like looks off to the corner like he's trying to recall some information. Says, "Life support."
Or so the ship says.
Does the ship tell you how much energy it has left?
He pauses for a moment.
Yes.
Has it ever gone up?
No.
Yeah.
When we have ready access to the sunlight, it is constantly recharging.
So it does recharge.
Yes.
So perhaps if it's not a huge draw on the alchemite, and we can recharge anyway, perhaps traveling above or below water doesn't matter too much.
If you are worried, we can go to the surface.
As he doesn't stop going upwards, he's still going up. You're muted, Alex. I see you're talking.
My knowledge of the ocean is not enough to make a decision about whether it is safer above or below. And if the draw is minimal and it recharges during the day, I do not see a benefit for either.
A system that has been sitting for so long could probably use a little running through its paces. So I say the more intense activity for it, maybe the better to loosen it up and work out any issues where we can fix now instead of where it might be a bigger issue later.
Spencer, does Ishmael have insight as to if it would be safer to travel underwater or above?
Make me a wisdom check.
Ooh, I rolled a 19 plus 21.
21. Ishmael doesn't have any experience traveling beneath the waves, but he imagines any contact with other hewn on ships might lead to some interesting questions about this sailing vessel. Whereas traveling beneath the waves, he's not sure of the danger.
Okay. So I kind of reiterate that or share that with Felix and Council.
Ishmael, do you know if there are ships that travel faster than this?
I'm guessing I would know. Does it seem like there are ships that go faster than this one?
Sure, you just make me. I'm not sure if, let's say, a wisdom check again. Be super low DC for you.
13.
Yeah, you are very aware that there are other ships that sail faster than this. This is not an incredibly fast ship. The only thing that makes it miraculous is the fact that it can go on land. Otherwise, it is a very mediocre speed ship. Yeah,
So
and underwater, right.
It would be good to avoid other ships, because we could not outrun them.
And we're not sure what connection they would have to Lady Margaret. And at this point, I don't think her men want to see the likes of me, and I'm not sure of the others of you.
It is unlikely to be a good encounter.
Felix, do you have a way to produce light? Is your suit capable of that?
Let me consult my user manual.
I mean, I'm surely capable of anything of such a trivial need. I might just need a day.
That could make traveling underwater far more comfortable for us if we could see a bit further ahead.
Seeing in the dark has never been top of mind for me.
As long as we are not in combat, I have no preference.
About the time that you guys are having this conversation, the ship breaks above the surface of the water. And when it does, it continues to be propelled forward. And then the sails kind of begin to unfurl back to their fully erect state.
All right, we didn't tell them to keep it submerged. Sledge, could you submerge us again? We'd like to travel under the waves.
Sledge just looks at the other sentient. And then the sails begin to furl back down around the ship.
These freaking meatbags.
And once the all sides are airtight, it again sinks beneath the waves.
It was a good equipment test.
Tizal runs upstairs and starts gasping for air while the sails are up. And then once the sails go back down, he starts running back downstairs.
As this functionality is beyond me, I will trust such to Ishmael and Felix and the rest of you, whatever feels safe for our journey. Council goes to sit. I guess he's probably getting tired about this point, since it's evening.
It's only again been a couple hours maybe now that you have been out at sea. So 8 or 9 o'clock at the latest.
He's gonna pull out his cartographer kit and start working on the map of the continent.
Okay.
Since the last time he did that, it was when they left Touchstone, when they were in that Dwarven trader camp. So he's going to do the desert as much as he can remember, the journey along the mountain south, the woods, up across the beach. Yeah.
Okay.
He also doesn't read, because that would be bad.
Come on, do it.
No.
Beneath the waves, it'd be great.
I don't want to
No
break
escape.
the skin submarine. Jeez.
Skin submarine just has a weird ring to it. I don't like it.
I can. Okay.
Leather marine? I don't know.
Felix extends his hand out, and there's a light in his palm that sheds a 30 foot bright light for 30 feet and dim light for an additional 30 feet.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll stand like that.
Part of his radiant weapon infusion that he put on that I totally forgot that was another feature of it.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. The light from Felix's palm being at the back of the ship, inside the air bubble, the bright light barely reaches the front of the ship, and then the additional dim light goes up to about where you could see previously, just from the light coming off of the sails. So adds a little bit of value, but not a ton. I don't know if it
Doesn't cost anything.
All right, cool. I was like, if it costs you like a spell slot or something,
bonus
I'd probably
action.
just keep it. No, not your bonus actions. Okay. We know what council is doing for the evening. Anyone else doing anything, or are we just settling in?
Tizal would want to brave going up deck and asking Sledge, With the cannons plugged for water resistance, does the ship no longer have any defenses?
Sledge just continues staring straight ahead.
No.
Okay. That could be a problem, but we will have to deal with it when it comes.
Whomever made this ship did not intend to see combat beneath the waves. It would seem.
Can only hope that their desires are what we meet. Goes back downstairs.
So I just checked, just because it might come up in the future, what the technical rule is for holding your breath in D&D. And it's 1 minute per Constitution modifier. Council can hold his breath for 5 minutes. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Hmm.
That's 50 rounds of combat.
Wait, that means Guybrush Threepwood's constitution is plus 10?
What?
Because he
What?
can hold his breath for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
There was a whole thing in the latest game. Yeah.
In the first game. That was from the very first game.
Yeah, but they really made a thing of it in the latest
They
game.
did ham it up a little.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, totally fine. Good to know. Keep that
I
in
guess-
mind later.
I guess combat would kind of double the consumption of oxygen. But yeah, anyway.
We'll keep that in mind in case we meet up with Guybrush Threepwood. So we know.
Might meet him along the way.
Council's
this-
formulating based on what Tizzle asked. Like, if we have to fight, he would probably try to leave the ship somehow. Like, we surface, he goes out and like straps himself to it, and then we submerge or something. And he's like, "How long can I hold my breath? Can I shoot underwater? Would I be?" He's being paranoid.
Sure. No, makes sense. Perfectly in character. Does anybody want to do anything for the rest of the evening? Are we setting up watches?
Yeah.
Ishmael's just been hanging out with Sledge, just trying to learn about the ship and
Okay.
just watching him and making small talk with Sledge.
You're watching Sledge fairly closely as you are continuing this descent. And at no point has there has never been a drop off or anything. This seems to be just a slow, steady decline, even after the 30 minutes or however long it takes you to get back down to where you were, where you are just kind of cruising along the bottom. There is no like shelf that you're falling off at this point. It is just slow, steady, out at an angle, which is weird, especially given like Earth's oceans. But around the pillars, the drop-offs are much more severe. The pillars themselves go down and down and down and down, straight like sheer cliffs from what is above the water. Here, it seems to be much more gradual. Who is taking watches?
We could take one.
Got one.
Okay. We'll do Tizal, Ishmael, Felix. All right, Tizal, take first watch.
Anyone need dark vision? No? Okay.
That's why I volunteered.
Cool.
Perception?
Mm-hmm.
15.
15.
Yep.
The entirety of your watch is spent staring off into an abyss. It is quiet. there is no sound, there is no light aside from that's coming off the sails. Yeah, that's all. Ishmael.
Hope no one has thalassophobia.
Tis
A brilliant perception.
Yes.
16.
16. Same as Tizon. Is long hours of staring into the void. No light, no sound.
Neat.
Probably about the time that you reach the middle of your shift on watch, you do feel the ship has now left something behind. And Sledge turns to you, Ishmael, and says,
Shall we continue to follow land? Or push outward?
Did Felix leave the compass, or is it on him?
It's on me.
For now, we should push on forward and not go deeper. We can consult with the others in the morning.
Aye, Captain.
and he continues at the same kind of slow, steady descent out into the ocean. And your watch comes to an end unless you have anything you'd like to ask him or talk to him about. Okay.
Not in
Felix,
particular.
your turn.
Another check.
Yep. Perception check, please.
10.
10. Felix, your watch is even darker and even more boring than the previous two. No light, no sound. Sledge does not speak or make any motion. The other sentient stands just next to him without moving. At what point do people wake up, or do you wake up others? At the depths you're at, there is no sun to tell you what time of day it is.
I imagine Dorn have a pretty good internal clock.
Make me an insight check.
Council wakes up when he's no longer tired.
Said insight.
Yeah,
17.
17. You have a rough idea of what time it is. Yeah.
Yeah, if it feels like it's been a night's rest, then he gets everyone up.
Okay. Everyone waking up underneath the ship. It is jarring, disconcerting that you wake up and there is no light. You're again just down in the darkness. Wander, especially, you begin to reminisce about the time in the caves when you were in a very cramped spot without sunlight, without any access to light. I would like everyone to roll me a Constitution check, please.
A check or a save?
Check.
Let me get to my fancy paladin dice that I never got to use with my paladin.
What is the difference between a check and a save?
You don't get your saving
Saving
throw
throw
proficiency bonus, whatever.
Oh, the proficiency isn't added to it. Okay.
Yeah.
1, a natural 1.
You said con?
Yeah. Constitution check.
Ooh.
15.
I got 14.
12.
14, 12,
18.
18, and 15.
And 15.
You
It's all
all,
bad.
you all, again, it doesn't feel great. I think probably Felix is the most comfortable with this. Felix, maybe it's a little strange because you're in the water. Other than that, you're used to having long exposures to no sunlight. Basically, entirety of your life. Tizal, you're already feeling very uncomfortable. You don't like this one bit.
Council decides to instill existential dread into his party by saying, "Isn't it crazy at any moment the ship could start leaking and we'd all drown? There's nothing below us or above us. We're in the middle of nowhere. We'd die instantly." I'm just kidding.
Rizzo reaches for his flask and water comes out.
Oh yeah.
Probably takes psychic damage.
Thought you were going to drown everybody inside the ship. Just dump out 30 gallons of water every day until we're dead in here.
I am the ocean.
So you don't feel great being down here. I would like you to have a point of exhaustion.
Fair.
No.
Felix does take the homunculus.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of explains like I'll need to repurpose this while we're underwater, and he kind of just dematerializes it and kind of moves that energy into a cloak that he has to replicate a cloak of the manta ray.
Ooh, nice. That's a good cloak.
Does Council, being as emotionally intelligent as he tries to be, does he notice the body language of Tizal and Wanda? They look obviously perturbed.
Make me an insight check.
And did I get a point of exhaustion? I rolled
No,
a
you
12.
did not.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, insight, I rolled a 5, and my insight is 6, so 11.
I think that Council, he might have an inkling that other people are probably uncomfortable in this situation. I don't know if he can immediately visibly recognize it.
Okay. He kind of says generally to the group, a couple of things to remember. 1, we are down here by choice. And 2, we do not have to stay down here. We can return to the surface. And if we see a ship, we can come back down.
That is true. I did mention outrunning a ship. We could very easily outrun a ship by going underwater.
And we have a bird-like companion who's used to being in the sky, and we have a companion who is used to absorbing sunlight daily. Being in dark and submerged is an extreme.
I'm sure if something terrible happened, I could I could turn into something that would survive underwater, but that certainly wouldn't allow me to help you, and it certainly isn't going to help my mood over the next couple of days. So I would appreciate being above the water. I've been, as you said, Wander is like visibly not doing okay, and he's like, you may not have noticed it, but it has been uncomfortable for me to be down here. It's reminding me of those cursed dwarven mines. No offense, Felix. And above water would be my preference.
Very well. If we see danger, we should submerge, but for now, I see no reason not to.
Are we to ascend?
Yes, please.
At which point, Sledge pulls back on the helm of the ship, and you don't feel the ship pull up.
Council just stares at Sledge.
Sledge it pulls harder, and there's nothing. He pulls it. What you imagine is as far back as it can go, and you begin to hear the ship creaking a little bit, like groaning. But you do not feel that same rising feeling that you had felt before. Yeah, I got rid of the word creaking. You don't hear Wander telling jokes.
I was gonna say everyone's eyes dart at Wander.
What are you doing, Wander?
Council's gonna go to the side and see if anything is on the ship, like a tentacle or like a
Mhm.
creature, or if there's any visible current. Like, is there like something pulling us down, like a
Okay.
whirlpool, or I don't know.
Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Okay.
Probably at disadvantage. Oh, I guess yeah. If you're looking in the immediate vicinity of the ship, never mind. Just make it straight
Okay,
because there is light.
that was a 14.
14?
Plus, you said perception,
Yep.
6, 20. Dirty 20.
You don't see anything that is impacting the ship. You see the like little bits of ocean scum, right, every once in a while,
Mhm.
but that's it. You don't even see any fish at this point around the ship. You can't see what could be causing this.
If the light of day powers this ship, could it be running low on power since we've been beneath the surface for so long?
Sledge would have noticed something like that occurring, right, Sledge?
No, we have power.
Felix, your compass. Could you look
Yep.
at it?
Felix pulled out the compass.
You do notice that throughout the night, you have strayed off course a little bit, but not by much. Sledge is able to at least like turn the ship left and right, and you can feel that in the ship.
We still have forward momentum?
Yes.
So the only Sledge, can you take us down for a short moment?
Yes.
And he pushes the steering wheel. I forget what the wheel forward.
Helm?
Yeah, helm. Thank you. Pushes the helm forward. And at which point you do feel the shift kind of lurch then, and it lurches forward and down.
So we can move every direction but up.
At which word Sledge says,
I have noticed. I am no longer certain which way is up.
But surely where our feet are pulled down is down.
Possibly.
and he again kind of pushes the helm of the ship forward to make the ship sink again. And you notice, even though you are declining faster, you're descending faster, you aren't like all sliding towards the front of the ship or anything. You are very much staying in place where you are standing on the ship.
So
And
when the ship is tilted, we don't feel like we're falling forward.
No.
We're just feeling the ship tilt and we're standing on it.
Yeah.
Great, it's Nino.
And Sledge says,
I believe we are being pulled forward by something.
We have been avoiding a desperate summons from an immensely powerful creature for a long time. That may have something to do with it.
Yes.
Another thing, we have increased our speed.
You increased the speed, or we are now being pulled faster than we were moving?
Yes, that.
It's Naruya.
She is rather impatient. This is not the behavior of a good host.
This is not the behavior of someone who has time.
That's true. That's true as well.
For the sake of it, I don't think we should fight it. In fact, if we can go faster, Sledge.
Sledge
Agreed.
kind of looks towards Ishmael
Hi.
and pushes the ship. It basically pushes the helm as forward as it can go, and you can feel that again that the ship tilts slightly, but you have no idea of how steep of an incline you are taking right now.
Wander takes an audible deep breath in and kind of rolls his neck.
You survived the caves and came out stronger for it, Wanda. I feel like this will be much the same.
True. Thank you, my friend.
Is there anything anyone would like to do today for the remainder of the day?
We're just sailing into the ocean at X miles an hour.
Can we? Is there sea life we can see? Like if Wander is just like staring off through the sails, is it like a Disney ride? Are there fish just flying by all over the place?
No, this is
Okay.
very much not the coral reef. You see fish every once in a while,
Okay.
but they are pretty few and far between. And already the depths that you are at, the fish are getting less and less fish-like, and more cosmic horror-like.
This is great.
Question.
Yes.
Can you ferment good berries into being toilet wine?
What happens if he puts good berries in his flask? Do we
Why
get
use
infinite
the
good
word-
berry juice?
Toilet. Why not just say wine?
Because it has to be made in a toilet.
Where is
Every-
the
It
toilet on
gives
the
it
ship?
its zinginess.
Branding is important. These are toilet wine.
I don't know. Yes, probably. I imagine that you could make good berry wine somehow, in whatever way you make wine normally.
Wander. Those berries you make. Can you
Mhm.
make more? Can you make more?
I at this point, I don't. Did I do that as an ability, or is that just one of my spells?
I don't remember.
I think it's a first level spell.
I think it's a spell.
No, it's an ability. I can ritually cast it once per week. So that's what I have been doing. But I think I also can.
Take it as a spell, as a druid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
I
use of
can,
spell slots.
absolutely.
You're not going to get into any combat down here. It's fine.
Do you want his
I
all have
don't
more
believe you.
exhaustion?
I tell you what, my friend. At the end of the day, before we go to bed, check in with me, and if we haven't had to, if I haven't had to do any scouting, if we haven't had to fight anyone, if we haven't tried to kill our friend after reading a book, give me a holler, and I can possibly get you some good berries if I still have enough energy left. It all depends on how much energy I have in a day, but sure, if you want to eat that much, go for it.
He's laying down and gives a thumbs up with his
Uh,
wing.
For the sake of future us, please remember the effect that a fruit-heavy diet has on one's digestive system. And we are in an enclosed space.
These are not for eating.
I see.
It is important to stave off certain conditions while at sea by eating fruits, tropical bounties.
Right. But if our bird companion has a case of the runs, that may be an issue for hygiene.
I called them the flies.
Just pointing it out.
Is there any way to exit the ship underwater?
Yes, please.
Would have been great to know on the surface. You don't see one. Or at least one is not immediately visible.
Sledge, is there a way to leave the ship without flooding it?
Sledge kind of looks down into the side.
No.
There's no hatch on the bottom we can open up.
No.
Great. A water grave. Wonderful.
I'm sure our host will endeavor to make sure we make it.
Felix is kind of
Maybe.
taking this opportunity of not really an immediate danger to kind of work on some of his projects just on probably on the under the deck.
Okay.
And he's also gonna like take the gauntlet off and keep the light on it
Okay.
to help comfort those who need light,
Okay. Probably for the first time.
mostly so they don't trip and fall on something I'm working on.
Hmm. Really, you're protecting your stuff.
Very Felix.
Yeah, for the first time in over 2 months, you have seen some of Felix's skin. The rest of the time, he's completely covered. But you see that, yes, he in fact does have flesh underneath the bone armor that he has made.
Is he pale?
Oh, incredibly.
Translucent? You can see his veins.
Is he
Ever seen the movie
raisiny?
Powder?
Oh
Does
no.
it smell?
Do you want to find out?
Salty.
Do I notice his stinky odor when he takes that off?
It mostly just smells like burning tobacco.
Smoke.
Yeah, really, the only thing that you smell is smoke.
He's basically been a
Wait.
meat smoker this entire time.
Are you now smoking in the enclosed ship?
He's always been smoking.
He never stopped.
Yeah.
But he's always in his suit, so now that the suit's open, are you still smoking?
Yeah.
Hotboxing the submarine.
It's not like huffing and puffing. It's like lit, but it's in his mouth, pretty much.
Casual. All right.
We're getting into some serious logistics of underwater
Right.
traveling here. We got poop to worry about. We got smoke.
Mhm.
Staving off scurvy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Council just kind of faffs about, chats with people. He tries to see if Sledge has any interesting conversation. Otherwise, he just kind of hangs out.
If someone had specific questions for Sledge, I think that he would entertain them, but he is probably not starting any conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, Wander is working on his book. It's going very slowly, and he occasionally asks counsel for the spelling of a word.
Hmm.
All right. Other than that, you continue downwards. And eventually you all begin to get sleepy. And you still continue downwards. And Sledge has nothing to report. Would we like to set up watches?
I will take first watch.
I can do a watch.
Okay. Tizal does not want to watch.
Tizal needs to sleep.
Okay.
Wonder will take a watch.
Okay. So we'll just go Council, Felix, Wander. Okay. Council, if you would, please make me a perception check.
Buh. That's a good roll. That's not a good roll.
The Kraken attacks.
14.
14. This is your first exposure to the night down here, which looks exactly like the day down here. And you spend your 4 hours of a watch or whatever staring into the abyss.
He meditates.
Okay. Could you please make me a Constitution check?
Oh no. 10 plus 4. 14.
You feel all right.
Okay.
Just the normal cabin fever.
Okay. Yay, cabin fever.
You wake up, Felix, at some point.
Yes. Staves off cabin fever.
Felix, please make me a perception check.
14.
14. This is your second go at it. And yeah, it looks a lot like nothing. Could you please make me a Constitution check? And then finish whatever you're going to say.
Yeah. I got 15. And
You
yeah,
feel
he's basically keeping an ear out for anything that sounds fishy, but he's again working on his like making a device for the walkie-talkie rocks to make him into like the sound device that attracts things. And
Fishy?
he's not going to activate it.
Okay.
But what else was I going to say? Oh, he does have the experiment he wants to conduct with the raw alchemite in lead. But fun fact, nothing has actually died near Felix this entire time.
Oh.
So that experiment's on hold. He needs to kill something.
Felix hasn't gotten any XP this entire campaign. He's still level 1.
Wow. But he's also trying to like playing around with the white alchemite he also has.
Okay. Anything in particular you want to test with it, or
Incorporating it in his suit.
okay?
Mm.
Okay.
We're gonna Thanos this.
Got to collect all the different flavors of stone. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That'd be an interesting gauntlet. Being able to mix elements at will. So you could do fire and water and make steam, or like earth and water and make mud.
It's like Magica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The game is great.
Except with his gauntlet. He's just like on demand.
I still never finished that.
Just accidentally explodes.
I accidentally just made death on myself. Womp womp. You wake up, Wander.
Yep.
Okay. Wander, it is your turn.
All right.
Perception check.
Perception.
Mm-hmm.
I cast dark vision on myself. I did that before going to sleep.
Okay.
So
Because it's 8 hours, right?
right. So that's a 9 on perception.
9. I would like you to make a Constitution check at disadvantage.
Ooh. Okay.
You're pretty sure you're underwater.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you don't like it.
That would be a 9.
9.
Yep, 9.
Okay. Your watch is exhausting. Staring out into the blackness, even with your dark vision, it's just nothing. And there's no sound. The only sound you can hear, even above deck, is the sound of the people downstairs breathing. it is just quiet. But by the end of your watch, you have taken a point of exhaustion.
Okay.
The end of your watch, you actually begin to notice it is somewhat lighter. It is not pitch black. It is what is like one level lighter than pitch black. And I'd like you to make me another perception check. And actually, everyone waking up, I would like everyone to make me constitution checks and perception checks.
That's a 10 for the perception check.
The perception check? Okay. You notice nothing.
23 for Constitution.
Constitution, you feel fine, Felix? And make me another constitution check, Wander.
Okay.
I'm doing perception and constitution.
Oh, Perception and Constitution?
Which first?
Make me perception first, and then make me constitution.
I already
Natural
gave you my
20
Constitution.
on perception.
9 on perception.
And
Okay.
And an 8 on constitution.
14 on constitution.
Got 5 on Perception and 23 for the Constitution.
Would
Okay.
both of those have been a disadvantage if I was already exhausted, but I took a long rest?
If you took a long rest, then your point of exhaustion went away.
Okay. thought
Well, yeah, it would have gone away. So yeah, you'd be okay. So then, and I'm sorry, Ishmael, what did you roll?
16 for perception and a nat 20 for the con.
Okay. So everyone feels fine except Council, who has a point of exhaustion.
No.
And Wander, you still have yours from getting it in the
Okay.
middle of the night. And perception, the highest roll was the 16, right?
Natural 20.
On perception? Okay.
Yeah.
So Council and Ishmael, you notice the lightning of the ocean water around you as well. But you both begin to hear like a faint music, like a melody of some kind. You're not sure what it's coming from. It's originless. It is just kind of all around you.
Didn't Callie say something about the non being very into art and music and that sort of thing? Because Council wouldn't know about it from studying, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. You would recall, because you have your keen mind from your conversation with Callie, that yes, she had mentioned they are very much musical and beauty obsessed in one way or another.
I'm not sure if anyone else can hear that, but we may be getting close to the city. I hear very faint music.
I
That
hear it
certainly
as well.
seems to be promising.
It is a good sign. I'm glad it's not just me.
You look at Sledge, and he no longer has the ship at like a full throttle forward. It is basically upright, and he explains that
The ship continues on its path downward. Despite anything I can do,
We shall have to trust in our direction.
We have no other choice than to proceed forward.
At this point, would we like to take a bathroom break, or should we
Sure.
come
Yeah.
back?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Let's take one real quick.
We
5 minutes for dinner quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna just really quick grab something too.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll be back in some amount of time.
Okay.
Not
Be
too
back
long.
shortly.
All right. I'm gonna pause the music. Pew pew pew. Hey. Oh, this. Oh. Mhm. Ah. Mm. Storm's fury is dead. Playing it world at sea.
Is Spencer frozen in place?
Yep, sure am.
I legitimately thought that my Discord froze because you and Jack weren't moving for like 20 seconds. Okay, now you're doing it on purpose.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I used to do that to my parents all the time since we like FaceTime or do video calls like once a week. I used to sit there, pretend to be frozen. I've got them to hang up and try calling again numerous times.
Mm. Got him.
Mm-hmm.
Said got him.
I said, mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
And in the kingdom of the everlasting sun. And the glory
Oh, this might be good.
into the fires of grave. We will fly through them. I'm back.
So what is interesting about you asking me to change that loop
Yeah.
of music, Alex, is that was the exact same loop we listened to the entire last session.
Yeah, I know.
Why
That's
did you ask me to change it then?
because I wasn't bothered by it until now. I'm like, this is the one from last session. Oh my god, it's been an hour.
Yeah.
It's really good though. Like honestly, that's why I could listen to it full repeat for hours. It's solid.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
It probably is. Well, actually, I don't know if it would be for you.
Nee,
I
nee,
imagine that
nee.
Jack and Adam would both know it.
Kingdom
The
Hearts.
Halo Reach soundtrack.
No, close.
What would we know?
The music.
It's from Halo, right?
It
It's
is.
the
That is
ODST.
familiar.
It's ODST.
Okay.
Oh, DST.
It's
Okay.
the city music.
Never
Oh,
played it, but I have listened to the soundtrack. It's very good.
oh, so good. That just kind of like light, like jazzy saxophone, like echoing through the like empty city streets, except for all of like the overturned cars and Covenant and stuff. It's like, oh, ambience.
It reminded me a little bit of LA Noire. Like when you investigate people, there's like kind of very chill music when
Oh,
you're
okay.
kind of talking. I don't remember from a specific part in the game. I don't know why that song took my brain to that game.
I could see it. It does. It's kind of got that like smooth,
Mhm.
what I would associate with like a like a noir esque
Mhm.
film of some kind.
It sounded like some of the cool emotional bits from the Kingdom Hearts soundtrack,
Oh yeah.
which is also very good.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. We're all back. Are we ready to go?
There will be a
That-
gap in my notes as I eat.
All right, we'll wait.
I'll
We'll
take
just
high level notes.
watch you. We'll just watch you eat,
Can you eat closer to the microphone, please?
please.
It's Thai green curry. My nose is going to run because it's spicy.
All right. We're going to try out some different music now. And if this sucks, I'll go back to the other one that I was playing after the ODST. Tell me also if it's too loud or anything. As
That's
you
great.
continue on your journey through the water, the rest of you who don't immediately notice upon waking up, as the hours of the day go on, you notice as well that the water is getting lighter. And eventually you can see kind of on the horizon of where you are heading towards, there is a very bright spot in the water that you are traveling toward. You're not sure, obviously, at this distance, whatever, what it is, but you can just see that there is something there. Oh, this one's gonna have ads. Never mind. We're going back to the other stuff. I'm sorry. Oh yes,
I would
not
like
the
to
ODST.
say we may be the first surface dwellers to set foot in the city for a very long time.
Hmm.
I trust all of you, but behavior will have to be top of mind. Much like it was in Touchstone. Until, the throne room incident. But never mind that.
At least none of us have a history here.
True. You continue through the water, and again, this point is getting brighter and brighter. The ocean around you still isn't very visible. You still can't see more than 40 feet that you could see before, but you can at least tell that there's some light source here. There's some light that is coming off of this structure or this thing in front of you and is emanating outwards. As another hour goes by and you are closer, obviously. Another hour goes by and you can now see that there is some structure to this. You're not sure what it is or what scale it is. You have nothing to compare it to, but there is some physicality to this light source. It's not like it's not like an effervescent light or bioluminescent light. There's something physical there that is giving off light. Anyone who would like to try and discern the shape of this at this distance could give me a perception check.
Yeah.
15.
9.
19.
19.
I rolled a 1 and then remembered, oh, I have exhaustion. I have disadvantage. I should roll another way.
Oh,
Could roll a double one and you just
that's
die.
right. Disadvantage. Oh, Barnabas, you suck.
4.
Oh,
I went from a 14 to a 3.
No.
didn't you have a 19?
Yeah, didn't you say 19?
Yeah, I rolled a 14.
Oh, got it.
Oh,
Got it.
13,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
So I rolled a 3 plus.
So
Yeah.
you're at this distance, you're not quite able to tell. As you continue to get closer, though, what you can see is that you are actually, now that the light is coming off of whatever this thing is, and you can see some of the ocean around you, you can see that it is immediately reflecting off of or is being blocked by some kind of, I don't know, large wall or the ground, which you are on. So whatever this thing is, it is off of the ground and it is shining light outward, and that light is immediately on a spot on the ground and is emanating out from it. You continue to get closer.
Could you say that again?
This thing, whatever it is off of the ground. So
Okay.
you are traveling on this plane.
Mm-hmm.
This thing, whatever it is here, and the light is shining outward from it and immediately upon this surface.
Thank you.
As you get closer, you can see that the reason the light doesn't also go backwards from this thing is that this thing is also on some kind of wall. And you're not certain, due to the darkness, if you are in a valley or some kind of crevice at this point. But you can tell that the light is immediately stopped by the ground you are on, and that this thing, whatever it is also attached firmly to some kind of surface. Would anyone like to, at this range, see what this is, or see if there's some kind of physicality?
14.
15.
9.
Council waits patiently. And you don't have to. 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tizal, what you can see is that this shape, which is protruding down towards the ground that you are on, is some sort of like inverted pyramid-esque shape. It's like some kind of upside down looking triangle.
So the thing that's floating, right? The thing that we see that's floating, emanating light. The closer we are, Tizal just noticed that it's an upside down pyramid. That's what we're
Yes.
saying? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that it is some kind of upside down triangular shape. And you can see that around the base of this, there are more reflective surfaces, at least immediately around it. And then there is this other like wall-like surface. So from your perspective, it is immediately above you, or immediately above this structure. And you can see directly beneath this triangular object pointed downward that there is a rise in the earth that also is coming up to some kind of triangle, or some kind of like undersea mountain almost reaching up towards it. So kind of like reaching towards each other, but not quite touching.
Got it. So the peak of the shape underneath is basically the inverse kind of the pyramid shape pointing beneath
Correct.
it, below. So they're
Yep.
kind of pointing at each other.
Yep.
Well, Tizal
Yep.
would point all that out to the group.
Sledge turns to Ishmael and says,
I do not know if I have a say, but shall we continue?
I was under the impression we were still being drawn in. Do we have a choice in the matter?
I believe we are still being drawn.
We should likely continue on with whatever is drawing us forward.
Felix checks the compass.
compass is pointing dead ahead.
This
We should-
appears to be the way.
We should press on.
Persevere.
Aye, aye.
Tizal's going to want to keep inspecting, knowing that we can't get out of this thing underwater. So he's going to be looking for different points, either on like the face of the pyramids, or the mountains or whatever that make sense for us to try to like land in. If that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. You can now, everybody else that you are multiple hours closer, you can also hear the music that was spoken of by Ishmael and Council earlier. There's not a particular melody to it. It is just, it's kind of almost discordant, but there's something there. But it feels jumbled. As you continue to get closer, you now see there are many more fish and other things, and you can see that the ground that you are going over is uneven, and that there are large bits of rock and other structures and things underneath the water. By the time you can all see fully well what this structure is, you realize that this upside down shape is not attached to another wall, but that wall actually comes to an end at some point. There is a massive floating boulder, miles long, that is at this point where these two triangles are pointed at one another, with the light coming off of the floating triangle and the dark being just part of the landscape that you are on top of.
Sorry. Keep
No, I
going,
was going to
Ryan.
say, I'm
No,
having
go
a hard time imagining that. Is it
Yeah, same.
ground thing protruding, upside
Yep.
down pyramid, and then large boulder?
So the upside down pyramid is on top of this large boulder that is floating out in the ocean.
So it's between them. So up,
No, the pyramid is on. Sorry, the pyramid is between the boulder and the earth. Yes.
So it goes mountain formation on the ground, upside down pyramid, boulder.
Yes.
okay.
Having been so incredibly close to Revan, would Ishmael know this shape? Would Revan have ever described a similar thing?
Revan never saw this
Oh,
that Ishmael knows of.
okay. Oh, interesting. I thought I had this figured out, but maybe not.
If Revan ever did see it, he did not divulge it to
Okay.
Ishmael. As the ship continues to travel forward towards this point, seemingly where these two pyramids touch, or these two points touch, you can see that the distance between them is actually not insignificant. It is not like these are, mere feet or even mere yards apart. The distance between the top of whatever this shape is that's protruding downwards and this hill that is pointing upwards are apart is at least a half a mile.
The whole
And this-
scale of this is just massive.
Yeah.
Crazy.
At this distance, what you can see about this upside down pyramid and the boulder that it is attached to, again, this miles wide and long boulder that it is attached to, is that at the base of this pyramid, there are jutting like shards of crystal in every which way and of glass that are almost like pointing out like an impact crater from this boulder. And it actually looks something like this.
I was gonna say, there's no way he didn't troll this. Oh, cool. So then above this spire is the upside down one, like half a
Yes.
mile up, and then above that is the massive mile wide, several mile wide.
Huh.
Yes.
Okay.
Love you, Daddy.
Love you too.
Oh, it's so cute.
Mm.
Have a good night.
That's crazy.
Love you. Yeah, so this structure is the structure that you see upside down to your point of view, pointing at the mountain underneath the water.
So this is it right side up, but the way we're seeing this, it's inverted.
Yes,
Yeah?
you would be seeing it inverted.
This is a pyramid, not the mountain.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the glowing crystalline source of light from which which is like above you. So this would be pointing down.
Okay. So we're looking up at this, and the point is closest to us.
Yeah.
So
Let's see,
crystals
can
are
I-
coming from the boulder, not the seafloor.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the impact crater looks as though this pyramid impacted into the boulder. Yeah.
Make me a investigation check, or make me a nature check.
Does this look similar to the edges of the wound or the scar, whatever it was called, in the desert? With the-
Oh, the obsidian mountain range.
yeah.
No.
14.
14 for
Investigation.
which one? Investigation. It doesn't look like it is an impact crater, or that it came out from this or came out from the boulder that it impacted into, whatever.
Okay.
And now that you're getting closer, what this actually looks like is almost a glass-like coral structure that whatever this spire is at the center of this boulder is growing a like crystalline coral outwards from it. And you can see as you get closer that it is like just hundreds and hundreds of layers of like glass-like structures on top of each other, reaching outwards from this structure, from this building. I would like Felix specifically to make me a perception check.
$18.
18. As the entire ship is getting closer to this point, the feeling that you all have now is that of rising again. And you feel yourselves being pushed into the deck of the ship. And you feel the ship, you can see out the edges of where you could see the ground mere seconds ago begins to fade away into darkness. And you see that your ship is actually being lifted up. And it quickly inverts. And even though it does that, you all are still standing exactly the way you were before. You feel a nauseating sense of vertigo from watching the entire world shift in front of you, but you yourselves feel as if you are standing perfectly still. And I imagine at least some of you would have to blink a couple of times to try and like figure out if your senses are betraying you. But in that moment, yeah, Right. Yeah, you just got off a roller coaster and you're in your 40s and you can't do that kind of thing anymore. I can't do that kind of thing anymore, and I'm not in my 40s. Get out of here, Adam.
Love roller coasters. I can't do spinning rides though.
Oh, spinning rides are the worst.
Oh,
I couldn't do those as a kid.
I loved them as a kid, but yeah, I nearly threw up at Valley Fair this summer.
Oh,
From
gross.
one spinning ride with the monster that goes around and up and down.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Hard pass. In that moment of shifting and realigning yourselves, Felix, you looking out and seeing what is in front of the ship back on what you once considered land or the earth where you were, you can see that this structure is actually not a mountain at all, but is a series of dwarven carved buildings.
What?
Stacked on top of each other, and like it's what seems to be a mountain of living, of domiciles, similar to Touchstone, except it's not inside a cave.
Oh, it does look similar. The
Oh.
spires in Touchstone that went up and down. Oh, that's crazy.
You guys now being pulled across the surface of this large boulder towards this crystalline pillar in front of you. You can see now that there are none around outside the ship, and they are just kind of watching as the ship goes past, and you see them in all shapes and colors and sizes.
Are we just drifting through the community at this point? Like they're just kind of having a conversation and we go by?
You don't see a community in like the same sense that like the Dwarn had, of like there are rows of cities, or even that the Eln had in Arinthia of like, all right, here is our town, and it's like built in this concentric circles on top of each other outward, or even what the Hewn would have back on the pillars, more usually like grid-like or built within like the walls of a city. This just appears to be like seemingly like random structures, just like built every once in a while. You get just the impression that you have from knowing about city planning and of working within a very tight-knit and close geographical society. These creatures didn't care about that. They have leagues to build whatever they want. Nothing's going to bother them down here. And so they didn't. They all just kind of like built wherever they want. It's like driving through Montana. You're like, all right, there's a ranch. And like 200 miles later, okay, there's another one. And there's another one. There's just no sense of that like needing to be compact on top of your neighbor. But eventually you reach the edge of this crystalline, I'll call it the crater, because I don't know of a better word in my head right now, but the crystalline crater. And it, now that you are on this surface with it, you can see that the ship actually has to like go up and over this considerable lip. Not just like a kind of thing, but like a wild thing, like has to go up a couple 100 feet to get up and over the lip of this structure. And when you get inside, you see, as I have poorly drawn here, some larger like crystalline pillars around this central structure. And this central structure has, also now you're closer and can see it, almost a swirling pattern up it, like a conch shell or something. But that has been obviously had like the end of it dug in. And you can see that there are none just kind of swimming all around, not really doing anything, just kind of going about their business, it seems. And Go ahead.
Are we drawing any kind of attention? I know there's, like, as we're going by, people are looking at us as we're
Mm-hmm.
sailing, but is there, like, pointing from a distance? Like, hey, look, there's a weird metal thing.
I think make me a perception check. And anyone can join in and wants to try and see.
18.
18.
24.
Nat 20 and 24.
Jeez. All right, guys.
You guys are all super aware.
I see everything.
What you see from the non that you are passing is any that are close to the ship and can get a good look at it. They are definitely like taking note of it, and you even see some of them begin to like swim after your ship, but that not as fast as you. Any that are further away, which you can see in the light of this structure, they just kind of notice and then go back to their business. It's only those who are like right up next to the ship and can see all of the details of it that are like, that's something worth investigating, and they take off after you.
Okay. Just curious.
Do those that take off after us, do they seem like similar to the others, or do they seem like they're scouts or guards of some type? Can we tell?
Make me either make me an investigation check or an insight check. Thinking either like you're looking at how they look and how they are, like,
Yes.
what if they have weapons, or are you trying to like gauge like intent from their body movement?
Gauge intent from body movement more than anything
Okay,
else.
so yeah, insight check then I would say.
15.
15. They're not immediately like pulling out weapons after you or anything.
Right.
They're not. They don't seem to be hostile.
Okay.
Eventually, after you come up over the lip of this, you find yourselves making the transition from this crystalline coral bed beneath you to something of a golden pathway. Like a yellow brick road, but don't call it a yellow brick road because it's not that, and that's probably copyright or something. I don't know.
The Golden Stone Pathway.
Yeah, the Golden Stone Pathway. Follow the Golden Stone Pathway. And you are just being drawn forward towards this structure, is where both the compass is pointing as well as where the ship is being pulled. And you can sense now that you have more definitive structures around you to be able to gauge your speed. Whereas when you were coming into this crater, you were going very quickly, faster than you've ever gone on land, and faster than you could tell what you were going underneath the water. But at this point, you have begun to slow up to the point where the ship actually comes to a stop only a couple 100 feet from the base of this structure.
Okay.
And there are a number of non around. And you can see beyond them that there are more non that are coming. And you can see that they are kind of like swimming up, and those that are closest to the ship, you can see them immediately like kind of getting right up next to the skin of the ship, the leather, and like they're not shy at all, like pressing their hands like up against it, like trying to peer inside and see what it is.
Don't break it.
Every once in a while you hear like a knock on the hull, like trying to test to see like, well, like what's this made of, like what is this, is it whatever. And they do this for minutes without saying anything. And you just watch as the crowd just gets bigger and bigger, and more non come.
Council. So when they're swimming by, can he hear the swish of the water through the translucent skin? Does Council think his voice would carry?
I see.
Make me a perception check.
I mean, I guess I could try it. what is that? It's 10 plus 6, 16.
16. You can hear sounds outside of this. The non they're speaking quietly amongst themselves, and you can hear that.
Okay.
It's too quiet to be audible to those of you who know non. It's just kind of like, if I was like whispering it like this,
Yeah.
maybe you might be able to pick up every fifth word or something like that. But other than that, it's just kind of noise.
Council tries to speak. He says, "These are none of the deep, right?"
These
I
are.
would assume, okay, because we're very deep at the bottom of the ocean, right?
Mm.
Just making sure. Didn't want to insult them.
Before, I think Tizal would notice that Council's doing that. Would probably also want to try to listen to see if he can make out any discernible things that they're saying, because he does understand not.
All right, make me a perception check.
18.
18. It's very quiet, and you're not able to tell exactly what they are saying. And those that are right up against the ship are not saying anything.
Okay.
Any of the chatter is coming from those that are like in the back of the crowd.
Okay. I would reiterate that to the group and keep an ear out. Like, Council's obviously going to try to address them. I want
Yeah.
to listen in.
Greetings, non of the deep.
And as soon as you say that, like, they all kind of like take a collective swim backwards from the ship, and they kind of like pause and just float for a second, and then make their way back up again, and like pushing their faces against it, like trying to hear again inside.
Are you speaking common or non?
Yeah, common. Council doesn't speak non, unfortunately.
As soon as Council says that, Ishmael in non says a similar greetings.
In non.
Mm-hmm.
At the sound of that, the non on the outside of the ship again like take a swim backwards, and then they all like begin looking at each other and like excitedly chattering to one another. And you see them again like kind of press their faces up against it, and one of the non whose like face is up against it just kind of says in non, so those who don't speak it don't understand, but says hello.
Can they not see inside? Are we just a big leather balloon under the water? Council mumbles that. He's like, they may not see us. But he gestures to Ishmael.
Ishmael.
You see now the non that were like towards the back are starting to like, because they don't have to stay on one plane of existence. They're like swimming over each other now, and they're slowly gathering on the top of this ship.
Do you tell us where we are? And speaking of non.
They all again like take a swim back. And you watch as one older looking non comes forward. You notice all of these non, not all, most of these non, they are very beautiful in their own way, very odd looking, but there's something that like draws your eye towards them. There's some kind of beauty there. And this older one steps forward. You can tell the skin is maybe a little more sagging. Not dressed as nicely as some of the others. Swims forward. It says, "Who are we?" In non.
He says, "Who are we?"
Yes, because you asked, "Where are we?"
Oh.
Or can you tell us
We-
where we are or something like that?
Yeah. We are a small band of most of us air breathers. And this ship that normally travels above the waves
You are from
gives us.
the surface?
That is correct.
And at that, like, a bunch more non like kind of press up against the ship, and they start all like talking at once and asking a bunch of questions.
Oh gosh.
And you can hear those of you who speak non. Everyone else, they just start mashing themselves up against the ship and are going. But anyone who speaks non, that's like, oh, where, like, what's it like up there? Why are you here? What is this? What's going on? But the one that is in front kind of like waves off the others and like tries to get some kind of order.
Are they about to speak?
No.
We hope to. I'm going to get the name wrong. Nerulia here. Is this where she resides?
And you like hear that one word. Even those of you who don't speak nod, you can hear them saying Nerulia amongst themselves. And then the older one again kind of like holds up his hands. Says, what matter of business do you have with our goddess?
She is expecting us.
And
Tis
you
all.
see all of the non are kind of like looking at each other and like again very excitedly chattering. Like, what are they saying? What are they talking about? Why are they looking for? What does she have to do with them?
Tizal would interject quickly and say, "We're Lady Nagrel, the High Priestess. I believe she sent for us."
Oh, I knew I was going to get the name wrong. Crap.
Which at the mention of that, they
I didn't say it in non. I don't speak it. I said it in
okay.
common. I can only
Okay.
understand non.
So I correct myself. My apologies. I gave you the wrong name. Lady Negrel is the one who hopefully is expecting us. We met with her on land.
And they all again like excitedly are talking amongst themselves, and the elder one holds up a hand again, like asking for silence. Says, "This is not possible. She does not leave the cathedral."
Was it her priestess we met with?
Her
Gosh.
sister, Callie.
It is the sister Callie.
You're doing great, man. Keep it up.
One guy who wasn't
The one
there.
who wasn't there is this one
The only
person.
one that can speak non. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Tell them that Lady Nagrel found Captain Revan with a special mirror and sent Callie to find us.
While you are saying that to Ishmael, you see the older one kind of turn to one of the other non, and you see this other non kind of like break off from everyone and swim back towards the cathedral.
Callie, do you know of her? She may have been the one that spoke with our group.
The sister.
She found a former friend of mine who is no longer here. And I am only translating or relaying what I know of the situation, for unfortunately I was not there and he has since passed. She found Captain Revan through a mirror of sorts.
In which the elderly non kind of like cocks his head to one side, and you can again like the chatter begins behind him amongst the non. Says, why would she use the mirror to search for your friend?
She sought him out for help, along with the few other companions that are in here.
For what? Exactly.
Ishmael looks to the rest of the group. They want to know why Callie sought Revan.
I'd have to open my notes, but they are on my laptop.
She was losing her power and needing us to find her.
You
Is
should
what I remember.
you should tell them to ask her.
Ishmael turns back and says, "Is Callie here? Is she nearby? You could ask her. She'll know who we are."
Callie's on official business for the priestess. She goes as she pleases. At which point, you see the crowd kind of is getting parted from the backside, and you see as two large very similar to the ones that you saw and have fought up on the surface, come through. Except these are not the like normal dark colored like blues and greens of non that you have seen up on the surface. These non are almost pure like gold in color.
Wow.
With like a white underbelly. And they both have large tridents, and they swim through. And they're kind of like, you see lightly pushing people back with their tridents, just like pushing them out nicely. As you see, the non that had swam off earlier is with them. And they say, which Ishmael and Tizal understand, the priestess wishes to see them. At which point, the rest of you just kind of hear them speaking to the other non, and then the other non just like quietly losing their minds. Like, yeah, way more excitedly talking amongst one another. Like, the gossip machine is in full effect in this crowd here. Which you can see that the number of non that are gathered around the ship now is easily like 50 or 60.
Oh, jeez.
The crowd has come out to see this. At which point, one of the golden non kind of comes up to the edge of the ship and taps on it with the trident and says in non, the priestess wishes to host you.
Not all of us in here, not everyone in here is able to breathe under the surface. Is there any way for them to come along as well? Or are only those able to breathe underwater able to see the priestess?
At which point the non kind of the two larger non that are there turn to each other, and one kind of like leans over and whispers to the other one. And the one who was speaking before comes back and says, "This will not be a problem."
Hey, Ishmael, how's it going? A lot of conversation we've been having.
They say the priestess would like to see us, and that the lack of the ability to breathe underwater shouldn't be an issue. They have not yet provided further details. Are you comfortable enough going outside of the ship and taking a chance?
I do not believe they have malicious intent.
Quick way to get rid of intruders.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Open up real quick. All right, we took care of them.
Just roll down the window. We just want to take a look inside.
Perhaps I could go out there and see what they intend.
The only way to leave the ship is to open it.
Given this structure is undoubtedly Dwarn made, I don't doubt they have a solution for those who need air here.
Council kind of pauses for a bit. I am comfortable making that risk, or taking that risk.
Can you explain to our big fellow here that if we open up, our ship will flood? Do they have somewhere for us to dock that perhaps has air?
So in non, I ask a question along those lines: is there a large enough space to bring this ship where we can open it? The only way we're able to leave is to completely open it.
This is not a problem. We have no place for a ship. We have no need.
But if we open this, and he gestures to the leathery sails, those who do not breathe in the water will certainly perish. And it will flood our ship at the same time. It is dry within here. There's no water.
And he kind of turns away towards the other large golden knob. And he whispers something. He says, the priestess says this is fine.
Knowing the feats that Dwarn engineering have achieved, I imagine we will be able to breathe underwater. Merely being in the presence of this obviously unnatural structure.
Do we tell Sledge to change it back to ship?
The non on the outside say that it won't be a problem if we are to open it, and that the priestess said it won't be a problem.
Can we at least invert the ship first?
Aren't we the right side up? Well, we're on the ground, quote unquote.
The air will go up. So if we flip the ship upside down, at least the ship in the air in the hull stay. In case any of the equipment in there doesn't appreciate getting wet.
Like a diving bell.
Sure.
He says to
Imagine
people
that
who
must
have
be a
no
thing.
concept of a diving bell.
Diving bell not a thing in this world? I don't know.
It probably is
Like
for the
it would be.
Hewn.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
Felix just invented it. It is now.
The Dorn now have diving bells.
Well, Sledge, can you rotate the ship not rotate. Flip the ship 180 degrees, and we'll open it up?
Sledge kind of again is looking around, searching for something.
I am not certain how.
Do you know if you're okay underwater, Sledge?
I do not.
Well, we need to decide if we're willing to trust the Non and their word.
We have no way to return to the surface. Either we open up, or we die inside.
Open ship sledge.
I leave it to all of you. I have the ability to survive under here.
So do I.
Oh, your suit. That's right.
As do I.
I have the ability to survive for about 2 minutes.
At this depth, no, instant death. You
But
would
I have
turn
the
it-
strongest
You would turn into a
bones.
chicken meatball.
So there's no real risk then. Just open the ship.
We'd only lose Tizal. It's fine.
Well, and
Birds
humble.
float with their hollow bones and whatnot.
Before we open, council.
Reads from the journal.
Well,
That's a hell of a way to open the ship.
do my torches have any kind of adhesive substance like pitch? Is that how they burn, or is it fuel soaked? Is it rags?
It would probably. It could be pitch. Yeah, we could say that.
Okay, he's gonna unchain the book container, the journal,
Okay.
open it up, and use the edge of his torch to kind of line the edges with pitch, and then close it so like some of it oozes out the side to make sure it's watertight. Because it's just a metal box. He doesn't want to water damage the journal.
JIC.
Ah, I see.
That's
Well, it looks like you're not going to get that achievement.
Sledge, would you open the ship?
And Sledge kind of pauses for a moment. Just says, aye. At which point, you hear that and the rushing of water as it all just begins to pour up underneath the skins of the sails and into the ship. And it fills up almost instantly to where you are now all in water.
Can we breathe?
Would you like to try?
Yeah.
Are you holding your breath?
Council holds his breath and just watches Tizzle.
Yeah.
Because he
I'll be the-
knows.
And now
I'll be the canary at the depths of the coal mine underwater.
you see the almost very first thing as soon as the bubble comes up and all the air escapes and you are left there in the water, the non who are on the outside just immediately like swarm you, like claustrophobically are like up against you.
Would you consider any of them a missile?
Deflect one and turn it back.
Deflect non.
No, I wouldn't. No,
Maybe the
but they are all now looking at you, and they're like looking over your bodies and over like what you have on you, and they're like again talking. And so both Tizal and Ishmael, you would hear them like talking to you in non and saying like, "Where are you from? Why are you here? What is the what is that thing that you just opened? How were you in there?" And you hear amongst those other questions, also questions like, "Do you have anything to trade?" You hear a small, very brightly colored non, like a fluorescent pink colored non, who asks you what the latest like fashion is like on the surface, and if you have anything to part with.
Ishmael kind of interrupts and talks over all of them and just, please, which way to the priestess?
I'm trying to see if my friends are gonna drown or not.
They're not paying attention at all. They're just
What is-
like still
is the-
talking.
Is the old one nearby? The one I had been communicating more effectively with?
They pushed past the old one. Basically, you are surrounded by a bunch of like teeny boppers at this point, and they like will not leave you alone.
Are the guards still here?
You can see the guards in the back. Yes.
Can council walk?
A good question.
Because he's
Can
just
we
gonna
breathe?
he's gonna
You
take
can certainly
a moon.
try.
No, he's holding his breath, but he's gonna take a moon step.
Okay. You try to push off of the deck underneath you, and it's water physics. You are like kind of, you can slowly like trudge your way through the water, but it is
So because I'm wearing 80 pounds of armor, I can just kind of
yeah.
okay.
Yep. It's slow going. Tis all.
Can you breathe?
Are you breathing?
Yes, I would like to try. Yeah, roll for breathing.
You can breathe
Whoa!
just fine.
Panicked. He's a wet bird who's panicked.
How does Sledge look?
Sledge looks perfectly fine. He is still just standing at the helm of the ship, and there are all of these like around him and looking over him and the other sentient and like poking and prodding and trying to like talk to him, and he is just standing there still. Which point I would say the guards or the large golden non kind of part the crowd and do the like security thing like this way, and, like trying to hold back the throng of your fans, and begin leading you down the golden stone pathway.
Yes.
Towards the entrance to this structure,
Follow the golden path.
which you can see is, it's not like a large dome entrance. It's actually like a very much like flattened dome entrance, but it is very long, like 40 plus feet long and barely over like 10 feet high. But it opens inside, and you can see inside of this structure all the way up to the very top that it is entirely hollow on the inside. And it is just a large, like, crystal spiral up to the top. Around the outsides, you can see that there are different, almost like altars of a kind. And you can see that there are very plainly dressed, more plain, but still a beautiful, sleek non that are next to them. And you can see towards the back of this structure as the golden non are kind of like taking you through, that it is largely empty in here, except at the back you can see that there is some kind of like a silky sheet of a kind that separates this front empty area from something in the back. And now that you are outside of the ship, the music you can hear very clearly. And in here, you can hear it is echoing off of the walls of this crystal cathedral. And you see almost actually make me a perception check for anyone who's paying attention to their surroundings right now and not completely overwhelmed.
Does the sound come to us like it's through water or pretty clearly?
It comes clearly.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, 10?
13.
13.
Nat 20.
Nat
Nice.
20.
9.
9.
Also, how many minutes has it been since we left the ship?
Not even 2.
Okay. Council's still holding
I
his
guess
breath.
probably like 3 or 4. You're still holding your breath?
Oh, yeah. I got
Okay.
3 minutes left.
Tizal would have said, I can breathe, you're fine.
Good for you.
The while you are moving as well, and Felix, I'll get to the resolve of a resolution of your role in a second. The golden, large, like bodyguard nun says to you, Ishmael, you said only few of you could breathe underwater. No?
That was Ishmael. Did you know that was to
Yeah,
you?
that was to you, Ishmael.
Adam, you're playing Ishmael.
Yes. Correct.
They seem to have no problem.
They don't normally have the ability to breathe underwater. This is unusual.
He's surprised, and he told us
The
to
guard
open
is
the boat.
surprised.
None
None of you did an insight check.
mortified.
Not a single person.
I mean, I don't know what he was saying.
Wait, was he lying?
He just kind of looks at all of you and then looks towards the back of this cathedral that he's taking you to and says, surely this is a blessing of the goddess, whatever she is.
Tizo would look at Ishmael and say, "Tell him that he told us it'd be fine. Tell him he's freaking out. He is rattled by
You
that.
said it would be okay.
He said it would be okay."
Were you not... You had told me that it would be okay for those who could not breathe underwater. Did you not actually know if they would survive?
This was instruction given by priestess. We are not sure how or why. We merely do.
I understand.
And they continue to kind of shuffle you guys through. Which now that you've noticed, besides the clarity of the music in here, the throng of the teeny boppers that were around you, they have quieted down. They're still nearby and they're still looking at you, but they are at least like whispering and being more respectful in here. Car hop? No. Oh my goodness. You, Felix, your roll a perception check. You can see through this loose, like silky sheet, which you looking up, you can't see. It's not like being hung by anything. It is simply just like floating in the water in this space. So you're not sure how it's held up. You can see faintly glowing on the other side some kind of orange light. And the guards continue to bring you forward to this point at the sheet that's hanging down. And they kind of like put their hand in and say, the priestess is on the other side. And just hold it open for you. At which point they look at Ishmael. Both of them are like staring daggers at Ishmael because they are convinced he's the only one who can understand them. They say, we will hear if you harm her.
Certainly, we mean no harm to her at all. We're here to assist.
And they still just kind of hold the sheet open so that you can pass through.
Felix doesn't understand non, but he understands the gesture, so he walks through.
Okay.
Tizo would try to say thank you as he's walking through the sheet, not speaking non, but understanding it. So whatever that sounds like.
Okay.
Waka waka.
Maka, 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 maka.
Oh, no.
Perfect. I didn't know you knew non.
You insult my grandmother?
Those of you who pass through, you see now that actually what you are passing through is not like a two-dimensional sheet, but it's almost like some kind of sponge material. So where they held it back and it parted ways for you a ways, it isn't fully open to the end of it. And so by the time you get to the end, you kind of have to like push it open with your hands yourself. And when you get to the other side, you can see what appears to be intricately carved organ of just immense proportions. Like if you've seen like the tabernacle from Mormon stuff, like just massive, or from like cathedrals, like a huge organ, pipe organ, made out of crystal. And you can see there's no one playing it, but this is where the music is coming from. And at the base of this instrument, there is the soft orange glow that is coming from it. And in front of that, you can see there is a single non-female who is waiting. And she just stands wordlessly and waits. And you can see next to her, there is like a slightly over waist height, like pedestal. And on the pedestal, you can see there's a hand mirror. And when you are within range, she speaks. And in Non at first, and she speaks to Ishmael and says, I am sorry that Revan was not able to be here.
Are you aware of his fate?
I am.
I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you.
And then she turns to the rest of you and says, your friend is missed. I wish he could have been here. And so does she.
Thank you.
She got caught very off guard by that.
Council breathes in.
And after the silence following Council's breath, she says, my name is Nagran, and I am the High Priestess of the Nan. I speak for Naruya. I knew that you would be brought here today, but not from her, at least not, I believe. There is another, she says, and kind of like glances over her shoulder a little bit, and she glances down at the mirror. She says, what I will tell you is to be kept in confidence. Is this understood?
Yes.
Yes. What was her name again? Sorry, I missed it.
This is the High Priestess. Nagran.
Negril.
Yeah.
Negrel.
Negrel.
Mhm. Thank you.
Is she looking to each of us to acknowledge the confidence agreement?
No.
Okay. Council doesn't move.
I have my fingers crossed.
I don't have to do anything you say, lady.
We understand.
She says, I do not believe it is Naruya who speaks to me.
Oh?
Amongst the Nan, for those who are unfamiliar, it is customary for the high priestess to be chosen from amongst those of her most loyal followers. We are raised from our youth to be priestesses to her. Those who are not chosen serve alongside those that is chosen. But only they who are chosen serve as the voice. And I do not believe I have at any time heard Naruya. At which point you see in the space between her and the organ that's playing, a large eye opens behind her. And you hear the voice from your visions and say, it is I, Nan, that speaks. At which point, Negrel just kind of steps, like swims between you and leaves through the curtains. And you can hear the voice of this entity, not with your ears, but within your heads. She says, I am glad that you have finally come. None is more sad than I at the loss of your friend. And she turns and looks at Tizal. Or you can see the eye kind of like gaze down towards Tizal and say, or the loss of yours.
He was the first one with the compass?
Charlie.
Yes. He was also one of my chosen.
Charlie was the voice for you?
In time.
And who or what are you?
This is a good question. And you see in all of your minds at once a vision. And you see an expanse of endless blackness. And you hear her voice. And she says, in the beginning, there was noon. And you see a light appear, just a pinpoint in the distance. It says, and he was all that is wrong with life. And then you see, kind of coming in from the edges of this vision, you see bits of earth, and you see bits of water. She says, and then we were born. I am Nan, and you see the water kind of take shape into this just large, like a blob. All of the particles of water coalesce into one. And he is Nain. And you see all of the rock come together into one shape.
Name?
Nain.
Okay.
Name.
And they...
He?
Oh. Nayn.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn it.
She says, and they are Nin. And you see as a cloud of dust appears between them. It says, and we three created all that you know. And you see this perfectly spheroid planet or some kind of heavenly body appear. They say, and this was our world. And you see the three of them kind of settle down onto the surface of it. She says, and we were happy. And you see them just kind of sitting atop this large object that they are on top of. And she says, but Noon would not let it be so. And you see that pinpoint of light gets brighter. She says, for he was wickedness incarnate. And you see that brightness get even brighter. She says, we knew after a period and a slumber that we were different. And you see the three figures begin to argue amongst themselves. She says, we knew that Noon had corrupted us. And we knew this could not be. And you see then your vision kind of like zooms in down at the minuscule feet of these large beings. And you see 6 shapes appear. And the first one is what looks to be a non. She says, the first is Naruya, my daughter. And the second, you see next to her a turtle with a tree growing out of its shell. She says, Tersink. He is the son of water and earth. And next to him, a tall dwarf with pitch black beard and hair. Dalen, the son of stone. And next, you see an elven woman appear. Erinth, the daughter of earth and sky. And next to her, this shape, Alacanther. You see a bright blue Aran with wings on his arms. Alacanther. And the last shape takes form. Horus. And you can see there's a very nondescript looking hewn male standing there with brown, like flowing hair. Not like Fabio, but like I don't know, like a TV star from the 90s kind of hair.
You said Horus? Did you mean Horan?
Horan, yes.
Okay.
Horan.
I was gonna say, like, what? Who is this?
These we created to be our caretakers. They were to shield us from the corruption of noon. And you see around each of their hearts, you see a different structure appear. First, around this place in the water, you can see this first organ appear, and then growing around it, this large crystal spiral, which you recognize you are standing inside of. And then inside the heart of the world, or of the earth, you can see a large metallic sphere with intricate gears and patterns inside of it. And you see the two halves kind of come together around this glowing orange crystal. And then in the heart of the sky, you see this castle that is built upon a cloud. And at the heart of it is a perfectly sphere pearl that glows orange. She says, and this we believed would be all. We had no further use for them. And they all kind of fade away, all these 6 figures. And your vision again kind of zooms back out at the 3 standing. She says, and we slumbered. And the 3 shapes kind of go down to the earth and they rest. But what we did not expect was they would not go away. And you see these figures begin to be surrounded by other figures, other Dwarn and Hune and Nan and Eln, and all of the different races that you are familiar with began to be around them. She says, we gave unto them the power of life, accidentally, in the same way Noon gave us. And then we awoke, and you see the 3 figures again stand on the earth. She says, and we were tired almost immediately. And they quickly go back down to sleep. And you see the populations of peoples that are surrounding the 6 figures begin to grow. And the different crowds begin to butt up against one another. And she says, and there was not room enough for all. And you start to kind of hear the sounds of battle and of bloodshed and of swords and blades against one another and against armor. She says, and we awoke, and we witnessed the works of Noon, and we put a stop to them. And you see as all of the different populations just turn to ash and are blown away. And we forbid them, and you see the 6 figures come back into view, from doing it again. For we must slumber. The 3 lie back down. But they did not listen. And you see the shapes again start to pop up around the 6 figures. And when we awoke again, witnessing their betrayal, we did what we deemed to be right. And you see as the figures, all which have a glow of their own, even the populations around them have a glow of their own. You see the populations go dull. She says, and we took away their immortality. For this was too great. And we rest. And she lays back down with the other two. And you see the populations. You can see it's like watching life in fast forward, where there are figures that will pop up, and then there are others, and then those ones will die, and then there are others that will pop up, and others will die, and just like watching life in fast forward. And she says, we thought it was enough, but we were wrong. For we awoke. You see the three figures stand up again. She says, for our caretakers are nowhere to be found. And you see the different populations again starting to war amongst each other. She says, and so we taught them. And you see the populations gather at the feet of these massive beings in their midst. She says, and we rested. They lay down. But it wasn't enough. Again, start to fight amongst each other. And the six come back into view and gather in the midst of the different populations. And she says, they tried, but they were not successful. And you see as the wars continue and the six figures again leave. And she says, and we awoke. And again, Noon's influence was seen. And the figures all the populations are fighting amongst one another. She said, and so we did what we must. And you see again the populations just get turned to dust and blown away. And you see the world that they are on also begin to turn to dust and to crumble. And to almost look like it like a glassed planet, like it's like burning apart from the inside. She says, and then we rested. And the three figures lay back down. And the next part, I am not so certain. And you see as the large stone figure you had seen before is floating off in space. And you can see that one of its arms is missing. And you can see the cloud of dust is swarming around it and trying to like pick up the pieces of earth that are breaking off from this massive creature. And she says, and I needed to act. And you see the water, all of the water on this planet kind of coalesce back into this being, and you see it leave and wrap around this stone creature up in space. And she says, and we are again unprotected. And so are you. And just leaves the silence to hang. We know not, before you begin speaking again, where our children are. I have seen some of them a long time ago, but some I cannot sense. I feel nothing of the child of air, and I feel nothing for the child of earth. And I feel nothing for Tersink. And again, just kind of leaves the silence hanging there.
Wander's head bows when he hears that she feels nothing with Trisink.
Are you asking us to find them?
And you see the big eye, which up to this point had been kind of gone out of this vision because you're still just kind of floating in this expanse above this large husk planet and the beings floating in space. She says, I am asking you to save us all. I do not know what caused this, but I do know that if... Calm down. I do know that if either of them dies, Noon will win, and none of us will be left. And you are, again, then left standing in the cathedral where you were before, with the curtain behind you, with the organ in front of you, and the large eye in between.
And the high priestess left, or she was...
She left.
Okay.
And this is just an eye at this point?
Yes.
And what is it that you are asking of us?
And she repeats the exact thing that she just said.
But if
We were told by a worshipper of Noon that he is looking to reclaim all life in the world. Does that mean anything to you?
Yes. All life came from Noon in the beginning. It flowed outward from Noon, through us, through those you call gods, down to yourselves. He seeks to have it back and to be alone.
How did your children protect you?
They shielded our hearts from the
heart-
influence of
The
Noon.
heart being a physical thing here.
Yes. And you see the orange behind the organ glow a little bit brighter.
Is your shield still there?
You are in the midst of my shield. It is this very building.
And is it in danger?
Not here.
It is the others. You mentioned the castle in the sky, right?
Yes. The heart of Nin is likely also fine. The heart of Nain, while protected from the influence of Noon, is weakening.
And where is that?
And at that point, you, Felix, specifically, are standing in the midst of the metallic room you had viewed before, with a stone slab table and a large beating, glowing crystal in the background. He says, "You have seen it, Son of Earth."
In a vision.
Yes.
It was the one with Dalen and Aerith, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Which we asked the compass, and the compass said that was northeast.
Well, we didn't know
Northwest?
exactly what it was. I think we asked
We
where
thought
the
about
heart
the
of the world.
world.
We
Yeah.
asked about the heart of the world and the room in the vision, and the compass
Oh, yeah, the
pointed in
room.
the same direction.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our idea of the heart of the world is the heart of Nain.
For the
Yep.
first time, Council seems to be rubbing his fingers together in frustration. He seems to be bothered by what he's hearing.
Are we? We're still there with the eye.
Yeah.
And so what does, if we protect your hearts, is Noon powerless?
For any life that escapes from us three goes to Noon. As Nain dies, Noon grows stronger.
And any life coming from Nain also dies.
The life that seeks or that seeps from Nain is your stone. And you see the blue alchemite in your suit glows brighter. It says, "This is the very lifeblood of Nain. He is literally bleeding to death."
Oops.
Using his blood.
Is-
Your
Felix.
suit is just an abomination.
But the walkie-talkies are so cool. How could they be a god's blood?
You don't understand. No, look, I got schematics.
I feel like
If we are to defeat, we can stop Noon.
You cannot stop Noon. All you can do is help to wake Nain. For he slumbers as he nears death.
Then the cycle will repeat again. Yes?
The future is uncertain. In the face of absolute and certain destruction, I choose uncertainty. And I ask you to choose the same.
We have an idea of where the heart of the world, as it's been told to us, which it sounds like is where Nain may reside. We believe we know the direction, but how do we get there?
You must traverse the looking for word labyrinth that surrounds his heart.
Is it possible that the labyrinth is far away from the heart?
No. The
all-
labyrinth surrounds the heart.
Can you clarify something really quick? I can't tell if
Absolutely.
I'm super confused or what. Okay, so this is like a 10,000-foot view.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
The Noon had the three, and the three created the gods. And they created the people.
Mm-hmm.
Every time the three awoke, they were causing the people to die. Right?
Not every time, but when the Titans would awake and the offspring races, I will call them, were at war with one another,
Fighting, yeah.
they would wipe the slate clean.
They called it Noon's influence, right?
Yes.
Noon's influence was affecting the population, so they were trying to rid the world of Noon's influence by wiping the populations.
Yes.
And then the Titans took away the immortality of everyone, and that didn't work
Mhm.
because they kept fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told the gods to try harder, and that didn't work. And then they tried teaching the races themselves, and that didn't work.
Yes.
They took the
And-
immortality away of the gods, right? Or did everyone?
They
have
took
immortality?
no. They didn't take away the immortality of the gods. They took away the immortality of the
Oh, the population.
the offspring races became the mortal races
Yeah.
at that point
Oh.
in the canonical history.
I misunderstood that.
And
Sorry.
the three titans are Noon, Nain, and Nan.
No.
No.
Noon is Noon.
Noon is Zeus.
Nain, Nin,
Nin, and Nan.
And none.
and
Oh, okay.
They're like the three
They all
kids almost.
came. They all came from
Noon.
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 The three begat the six
Yep.
gods.
Titans, right? Is that the term you're
God,
using?
Titans are the three.
I have referred to them as Titans in my notes.
Which the six or the three?
The
Which
three.
one are you calling?
The three are the
Three.
Titans. The six are the caretakers.
Gotcha. Okay, that helps. Can use similar terminology.
does
What did you call the six? The six are what?
She in the vision called them caretakers.
Oh, we call them gods. She calls
Yeah.
them caretakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
They were
Does-
created. Sorry, go ahead.
does Council feel anything in the partitioned parts of his brain that constantly scream betrayal? He's delving.
Make me a self-insight check.
I rolled a 19. Insight is +6, 25.
Not even a little.
No. Okay.
No. The feeling that you get reflecting on this, and it's almost as if Nan, being played by the DM, knows that you are searching for this, and you just feel that what is before you is the embodiment of all that is good. in the ultimate struggle in good versus evil. That this is the counterpoint to Noon.
Hmm.
What do you mean by this? When you said this is the counterpoint to Noon,
Non.
what does that refer?
Non,
Non,
yeah.
non.
Non, the Titan of water.
I will only agree to do this if you let the mortal races fight. It will happen. We are children. In the aeons that you have existed, we are insignificant specks on a scale I cannot even fathom. And if our mistakes lead to annihilation every time, it will never change. I do not agree with such a firm hand against something that is so... I hesitate to say natural. For if it is the influence of Noon, then it may be inescapable. If you are from Noon, and the gods are from you, and we are from the gods, then no matter what happens, we will always be as we are. And unless we grow, I do not see any of this changing. We may save you. In fact, I believe in the competence of this group, that we can potentially see this through. But if some hungry people decide to start a war for the sake of food and territory, or money, or greed, and it leads to the annihilation of everything, then we suffer simply for your existence. And I see futility in that. I wish to be wrong. I am not trying to make a point or to downplay the importance of what you are asking. But it feels pointless.
Go ahead and make me a persuasion check
Oh, jeez.
at advantage.
An advantage, yay, because I rolled a 2.
She crushes you all where you float.
Stupid. I'll roll a 15 the second time.
I'll show you, feudal.
21.
Can I flash of genius this as well?
Sure.
Felix says,
Just in front of the goddess, says, "Ping."
as long as there's a shred of goodwill in this world, don't destroy it.
All right. What's the flash of genius? He gets to roll a d4 or just gets
plus
like
five.
+5?
Plus 5. I got a 21
26.
plus 5. 26.
The eye just kind of slowly blinks and opens. And you hear the voice say, "We shall see." And I think that that's a great place to stop.
Oh, I have so many questions.
Unless you guys want to keep going. I know that Barnabas usually has like a stop at like 9-ish.
I should get going.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No
Oh my
problem.
god, that was so good.
I need time to think anyway. I'm actually glad we're stopping right now.
Yeah.
My finger's on fire. I wrote down everything verbatim.
I wrote as much as I could with these hands.
Well, the whole thing about killing off the people, like, I don't want to help her if she has any kind of intent of killing all the people off again. That's why I was like confused. I'm like, wait a minute, am I misunderstanding this?
No,
She's
that's
just
exactly
gonna
what
kill
counts as
everybody
an
off
angle.
again.
That's,
Right?
that's,
Like, why the hell would we help her?
I mean, that's the cataclysm to the caretakers.
Right.
And
It's in the name.
Mhm.
that was the whole point of what Council just said. Is just like, why? If it's all gonna end up being nothing anyway, we're basically
Right.
just suffering so you can nap. Like,
To our
we're
own
tired,
eradication.
Keep it down, children.
Exactly. And it's like,
You don't
you're
know
not
how
doing what I
hard
want.
it is.
If we succeed, you'll kill us off.
I have been
How about
tired
no?
enough. I've been tired enough that if that meant I wiped the planet's population, I would probably nap.
I mean, I
stabbed
absolutely
the eye
agree,
when we
but
started
that's
the
beside the
session.
point. They're supposed to know better.
This reminds me of the preface to all the Wheel of Time books. This was a beginning. Of course, there are no beginnings to the Wheel of Time, for it has no beginning nor end. Yet it was an age long ago, and an age yet to come.
Oh no. Oh man, that's crazy.
This is
That's
awesome.
so many questions.
Did you say Alacanthers? I don't know if you said what it was. The son, was he the son of?
I'm assuming, yeah,
He's the son of
he
air.
left it out. The son of air, and then Horn, I'm guessing, is sky and water, right?
Correct.
But she also called Felix the son of. What did she
Stone.
say? Sand?
You call
What?
it the son of Earth.
Yeah.
Or son of
Which-
stone. Did I say stone?
We just seem to have glossed over that, and maybe that was just more of a loose expression.
Felix-
But
He's a dwarf.
He's a
He-
dwarf.
He already
right,
knows.
so
He already
okay.
knows he's Dalen incarnate. Like,
Well, that's
The
like
ego in this man.
Is that that's
Felix
what
is
it-
just strutting
at
around
first-
like I am literally God's gift to Earth.
It sounded like that's what she was saying, but,
Kanye.
but it must have been more of like
Oh,
a
no.
generic term, like all
Yeah.
Dwarn are son of stone.
Then
Is that-
why did Aerith shoot Dalen?
You know siblings.
But they weren't siblings; they were lovers.
That's gross.
See, this is the council is like, I am way too mortal for this.
Wait, is it
I should
Earth?
be on a farm. Like,
Is it Earth? Is it Earth or is it stone?
I think it's
Yes.
interchangeable.
Is
interchangeable.
it
Yeah.
interchangeable?
Mm,
Okay,
yes.
so Dalen is son of stone, but she was daughter of stone and sky, or earth and sky.
Earth and sky. Yep.
Who?
Aerith.
Aerith? Yes.
Yeah.
His
Does that make them
sister.
siblings? It is. They are siblings.
I mean, they are gods, right? Like,
Yeah,
They wouldn't refer to each other as dear if they were siblings, unless this is like Alabama.
I mean, isn't there plenty of incest and
I feel like
Greek
there's
mythology?
inbreeding. In
Yes, there
Yes,
is.
lots. Greek and Roman, well, which
I-
are basically
again-
the same.
Mother, son.
So something to keep in mind is that again the caretakers, they were created with a single purpose, and that is it. Beyond that, the Titans had no other thought of them, no other like grand plan for them.
Right.
It was just, we are creating you so that you can protect us from Noon.
their creation, and this is what I'm trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
How, I guess maybe this is part of the lore that we'll learn,
Enough, go ahead.
and maybe I shouldn't even ask. But if,
No,
they're
go ahead.
if Dalen is the son of Stone, perceivably
Yeah.
he was created by the Titan of Stone or Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and if the Elm Goddess was the daughter of Earth and Sky, does that mean they created her together?
Yes, but like they didn't get it on, if that's what you're asking.
I mean, that's not exactly what I'm asking, but that's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah, I assume there's influences of 2 or 1 or
You
Yeah.
built the legs, I build the torso, that kind of thing.
So yeah, with each, I get to nerd out. It's great. There's 6 for a reason. There is the like pure offspring of the deity or of the caretaker. So like Dalen has just the Dwarn, but then there is also a Dalen and Naruya and a Dalen and Alacanther. Like they both have some kind of creation together.
Okay.
Or sorry, not Dalen. I meant Nain and Nin and Nain and Nan.
yeah.
Sorry, that was probably
So there's
really
3
confusing for a second.
pure and 2 and 3 double mixes.
Yeah.
If anyone
Oh,
heard you
I
just say,
see.
if anyone just heard you say Nain and Nin and Nin and Nan, they probably think you're having a stroke.
Think the color wheel. See,
Yeah.
the primary colors.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
red,
Yeah.
yellow, blue, and then
Yeah.
green, purple, orange. Yeah, perfect.
RGB.
Just Titans.
Nailed it.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's crazy.
that's my stupid little story I had to tell.
I love it.
Your creativity
over.
is astounding. That is,
Yeah.
This is really awesome. Can we play tomorrow?
Sure, as long as the entire thing is just you guys asking questions like this, because I can talk about this like I have lived it.
As long as it's in character, and I finally get to figure out what the frick's in the journal.
Maybe.
We'll find out. Council just wants to know who betrayed him. Who betrayed my Hulk form? Why is he so mad?
Mayo.
Oh,
Alright.
crazy. Well, thanks, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for
So
playing.
much-
That
so
was
many questions.
amazing.
Thanks for
Yeah, that
DMing.
was
Huh.
seriously incredible.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry that the beginning was so slow of
This
just
was
traveling.
worth letting Orin fall to go see.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
I look forward to coming back to the rubble and putting it back together.
if Aaron is Nane's heart, then yeah, maybe.
Wander's whole thing
Uh,
about feeling responsible for people dying, all over, all gone.
Amazing. I'm gonna stop streaming too.